All right, here we go. We are going to be solving literal equations. So the first question we might ask is, what is a literal equation? A literal equation is simply equations that contain more than one variable. Now, when we go to solve these, we solve them in the same way we have been solving all of the other equations that we've done. There is one big difference, however, and this is the part that kind of throws students sometimes. The answer will not be like x equals 5 or x equals -2. The answer will be an equation with other variables still in it. So that is the hardest thing to get used to with literal equations. You're not going to get a final answer. Some of the techniques we will be using to solve literal equations are things like collecting like terms, inverse operations, maybe the distributive property. And the hardest part is making sure you have simplified the equation completely. So let's take a look at this. So on this first one here, we are going to solve this equation for b. Okay, so I look at the b, and if you notice, I have bh. Well, what that means is b times h. So to undo that, all I simply do is I divide by h. So b is equal to a over h. And that would be our answer to that. Okay. Number 2. We're looking at this problem here. We want to solve it for y. So the first thing we look at is I'm adding 2x to y. It's a positive 2x, so I'm going to minus 2x. Now, we always like to put the variable in front, so this is going to go y equals -2x plus 5. And that would be our final answer for that one. Okay, let's move on to number 3 here. So on number 3, we are going to solve this equation for L. By the way, this is the perimeter equation of a rectangle. So we want to solve this for L here. So the first thing we have to get rid of is we have to get rid of the 2w. So I'm going to minus 2w from both sides. And then that would leave me with 2L equals P minus 2W. Then my next step is I'm going to divide everything by 2. Okay, and that would leave us with L is equal to P over 2 minus these 2's cancel, and it would just be W. And that would be our simplified version. Okay, so length is equal to perimeter divided by 2 minus the width. All right, this time we're going to solve for x. So I want to get rid of that first. So I'm adding 4y, so I'm going to subtract 4y from both sides. Once again, we like that variable up front. So we're going to write it minus 4y plus 6. My next step is I'm going to divide everything by 2. And that's going to leave me x equals -2y plus 3. Now notice I simplified there. I don't know if you caught that or not. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So that's how that simplified out. Okay, let's take a look at number 5 here. This one is a little more complicated. Not much, but just a little bit. Excuse me. So on this problem, what we're going to do is we're going to start off and we're going to solve this for B1. Now, if you notice, B1 is inside this grouping with B2. So the first thing I want to get rid of is this half and this H. So I'm going to draw my upside down T. I'm going to get rid of the half by timesing it by 2. So that would give me 2A equals H times the quantity B1 plus B2. Then it's time, so I'm going to divide by H. So now I have 2A over H is equal to B sub 1 plus B sub 2. And then my final step is I would just minus my B sub 2, minus my B sub 2. And then my final answer would be 2A over H minus B sub 2, and that equals B sub 1. All right, let's take a look at this last one here. On number 6, we're going to solve this one for y. So I want to get y by itself. So to do that, I'm going to get rid of the 6x. I look in front, it's a positive, so I'm going to minus 6x from both sides. Don't forget that negative is attached here. So negative 3y equals negative 6x plus 9. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to divide each thing by a negative 3. And that's going to give me y equals 2x minus 3. The simplifying would go like this. Negative 3, negative 6 gives me a positive 2. Negative 3 and a positive 9 gives me a negative 3. And that's how we solve literal equations. If you notice, not much different than what we've been doing. It's just our final answer is not x equals a number or y equals a number. It's actually another equation. So